The Christian Kings of the British Isles, Part 2, Brian Boru. In Ireland itself, it's not easy to establish the authentic line of kings, although many works have attempted to do so. If you are interested in this subject, you can find more information on the website, and I have produced a video called Adam to Brian Boru. Also, if you scroll through the useful charts page of the website, you will find a complete list of the Irish kings that I have attempted to compile. According to medieval Irish literature, Ireland was ruled by a high king since ancient times. Many early Irish texts, like the Libor Gabála Érenn. By the way, while I'm doing this video, I don't really know the correct pronunciation, so you'll have to forgive me for that when I'm struggling with some of these names. Anyway, many early Irish texts, like the Libor Gabála Érenn, attempted to trace the line of the dynasties. Geoffrey Keating's Foras Feasa ar Erin, The History of Ireland, gives long genealogies of the various chieftains going back to Adam. The kings or chieftains of the clans were chosen from the most able or suitable members of the clans, rather than following a strict system of primogeniture such as the English followed. However, one king stood out from the others and could probably be called the greatest High King of Ireland. In some ways, he is to Ireland what Arthur was to the Britons and Alfred to the English. Brian Boru was a fearless warrior who succeeded in uniting all the provinces of Ireland under his rule. Together with his army at the Battle of Clontarf in 1014, Brian Boru defeated a Viking-Irish alliance army and ended the Viking era of control in Ireland. Unfortunately, although Brian Boru had won the greatest victory of his long career, he did not live long to enjoy it. As he knelt in his tent praying for victory and for his army, Viking Brodir, who was nearby, ran into his tent and killed the 73-year-old Brian. My purpose here is to demonstrate that, like the other kings in this series, everything Brian Boru did was motivated by his Christian faith. Brian's father was Kennetic Mac Locain, who was king of Dal Gacase and king of Tuatha Thomond, modern County Clare. He was born in about 941 AD, the youngest of 12 brothers. Brian was highly unlikely to be heir to his father's throne. When he was young, he was sent to a monastery to study Latin and the history of Ireland. Christianity in Ireland had developed from monastic communities from long before the arrival of St. Patrick. A hermitage on the island of Skellig Michael was ordered by Arwistli, also known as Aristobulus, who was appointed an ordained Bishop of Britain by the Apostle Paul. So the gospel had spread to Ireland from the time of the Book of Acts, and had spread from these communities to the whole island. Brian was taught at a monastery on the island of Innisfallen, near modern Killarney in County Kerry. His teacher or mentor was the noted monk Malsuthain Ua Kibhal, an Eoganach chief who had become the head of the monastery, noted for starting the annals of Innisfallen. This monk would later become Brian's Amchara advisor. Monasteries such as these were steeped in holiness and genuine Christian faith. When Brian was 10 years old, he received news that his father had been killed in a battle with the Vikings, and he returned home. Tragically, Brian later witnessed another Viking raid near his home, in which his mother was killed. These events obviously left a lasting impression on him. After the death of his father, the kingship of the region of Tuatha passed to Brian's older brother, Mathgamhain. Brian and Mathgamhain campaigned together throughout Munster. When Mathgamhain was killed in 976, Brian replaced him. Subsequently, he became king of the entire kingdom of Munster. From this brief account, we can see that Brian was raised as a devout Christian and also witnessed the assault on his family and people by the Vikings. His heart was for a united Ireland, free from the Viking invaders. The High Kings of Ireland had been crowned in Tara since the time of Simon Brach. He was crowned King of Ireland in about 700 BC and placed a marble chair in Tara, the traditional seat of the Irish kings, where many successive kings were crowned after him. However, in the time of Brian, the O'Neill clan had held the monopoly of the rights to the kingship of Tara for hundreds of years. After years of political and military struggle, Brian broke this monopoly, and by the year 1002 succeeded in forcing the O'Neill High King Mael Secnail Mac Domhnaill to recognise him as his superior. This was significant because it broke the O'Neill monopoly and opened the way for a united Ireland. After Brian won the kingship of Ireland, he went on a tour throughout the island. His old mentor from his childhood monastery, Mael Suithan, accompanied the king during the trip, during which they visited Armagh and established the supremacy of Armagh over the other churches of Ireland. Brian spent the rest of his life attempting to subjugate the lesser kingdoms and regions of Ireland and bring them into one unitary state. He worked with the Church in Ireland to establish a new form of kingship in Ireland, one that was similar to the kingships of England and France, in which there were no lesser ranks of regional kings, simply one king who ruled one nation. He spent his life fighting mostly heathen adversaries, and like the other kings in this series, he had a vision for his people, the Irish, to be one nation. During the final great battle he had with the Vikings, the Battle of Clontarf in 1014, he succeeded in finally defeating the Viking invaders. However, he himself was killed in his tent by a fleeing Viking, and with him the dream of a united Irish nation seemed to die. Ireland itself fractured into warring factions, but somehow the dream of Brian Boru lived on. So God created the Irish to be a nation, and Brian Boru has remained a symbol of Irish nationhood. The Trinity College harp, also known as Brian Boru's harp, is a medieval musical instrument on display in the Long Room at Trinity College Dublin in Ireland. The harp was used as a model for the coat of arms of Ireland and for the trademark of Guinness Stout. Someone said that if it wasn't for Brian, we would have to drink Carlsberg instead of Guinness. So let's raise a glass of the black stuff to the King of the Irish. So thank you for listening. If you found this video interesting, you can find more information at prophecy-workshop.com.